Let's continue to find a way to grind and shine. Yeah. Hey. Slow Nation. I hope all is well. Prize fighter. Even when he's dying, he's continuing to find ways to fight. Continue to find ways to pull things through. As we set up everything, let's do just that. Come on, turn me up. Yeah. Shout out to all the HBOs and the SGs in the house. The Air Dash Attack. Almost finished. Shout out to all of the grinders. The Grinders edition, huh? Mama, there go that man again. Mic check. Yeah. Come on. We're live, like 95 on multiple platforms. Check me out on Instagram. Shout out to everybody that's there. Really do appreciate you all. Come on. Yeah. Tell them ain't no party like a Long Nation party. Let's ride. Ashaniqua, Pookie, Ray Ray, where you at? Yeah. Yeah. They put my chat box up. You gotta pull that up, right? Oh. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and being part of this episode. On this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about Dak Prescott and as well as, of course, people's thoughts about his money, his coins, his bag. And, of course, most of that comes from these talking heads. But we got to talk about it, right? Turn me up a little bit more. Yeah, come on. Shout out to Kwame Brown, though, you know, the go along, get along gang. He been talking about them, but he been sprinkling some of mama's cooking all over Stephen A. Smith, and I love it. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it when they call out Stephen A. Boy, y'all just don't know. It brings music to my ears. It do. Maybe I'm going to have to break that down one day, too, one of those episodes. Shout out to you, Slick Soul. Appreciate you for jumping in. Shout out to you, D-Dubs over there. I see you over there on the Instagram page. Appreciate those that are subscribing. Shout out to you, Asmodeus, man. Really appreciate you for jumping in and being part of this thing. Terrence, what's good, fam? Appreciate you. Let me know if audio's straight. Y'all can hear me. Let me know. Cowboy Nation. Mama's cooking, Mike Meticulous, yes. He been springing a lot of that over there on those guys, just telling his thoughts of everything. Now, we're entering in the 2021 season. Last year was abysmal. It was a crazy situation because we saw some of the growth aspect of the offense, but we couldn't punch it in when we needed to. You know, I'm going to be objective a little bit. And on top of that, it's just that this defense on the defensive side of the coin was just giving up the world. And unfortunately, unfortunately, when you are the quarterback, I guess you got to play defense too. That's just how it goes. Heavier is the crown, right? And that's what happened. So we didn't do a lot in 2019 and 18. 18, of course, we made it to the playoff. I actually won a playoff game, beat Russell Wilson, who is the NFL darling child. You know, he can't do nothing wrong. He can 1-2 step and everybody say, okay, he's good. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then, of course, Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady and all of those boys. But those are the only two quarterbacks that got more wins than Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, and Russell Wilson. Of course, knocking at the door is Pat Mahomes. And I'm not saying that Dak Prescott is that. But what I'm saying is, collectively speaking, he is in the same room as those guys. As much as people look at it and say, well, no, Law, he don't belong at the table. But according to stats, if you want to go off of that, he is in that same room. Now, in wins, by the way, he's in that same room. But what people like to do is say, well, he's not better, which, okay, I'll give you that. But I come here to tell you guys that none of those guys had the opportunity to have Jason Garrett as their head coach. I wonder what Tom Brady's career would have been like with Jason Garrett as his head coach, and even the Russell Wilson guy. I wonder what that would have looked like. Now, last season, the Cowboys decided to do this. They came in with a second-year coordinator, Kellen Moore, who's thrusted it into probably being the next head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. They went and got a coach that was sitting on his couch eating oodles and noodles, Mike McCarthy, right? And they said, hey, man, put together a plan during COVID. And by the way, let's pick out Mike Nolan as your defensive coordinator. And these are facts. You can fight me with them later. But everywhere Mike Nolan went, old folks right. Old folks right. I ain't hear a lot of kicking. Old folks right. They say everybody and anybody, all of these people are not lying on you. Somewhere's the truth. So either Mike Nolan is the best thing since sliced bread as a defensive coordinator and he just been set up with horrible players, or inverse, Mike Nolan is just a horrible defensive coordinator. Y'all can fight me with that, you know. Let me know which one. Pick out which side of the coin you on. Mike Nolan being a good defensive coordinator or the players just bad. Now, somebody, just to say this objectively, somebody can say, well, let's just say this. Hear me out. Let's just say this. It's a mixture of both. I know when I look at teams like the Washington team, and we look at their defense, and we'll say, man, they're one of the better defenses in the NFL, and they're good. They got a good coach. But I come here to tell you guys.
Is Micah going to get his first sack on TB? Plaza Lowell.
Let me give you one of these.
Sparta!
Appreciate you, Alex. Appreciate you. For those who Alex caught me off surprise, let me hear it again.
Law. Is Micah going to get his first sack on TB? Plaza Lowell.
Please. Yeah, he will get his first sack, man. Look, they're going to utilize Parson in multiple ways. They're going to blitz him off inside the middle. They're going to blitz him on the edge. He's going to be the designated pass rusher at times. And if you look at some of his tape, look at when Penn played against Ohio State. There was a quarterback that can get the ball out, who also can use his legs. Just look at him. He was able to hold containment, although, you know, Ohio was a better team. But just look at the game, look at the flow. I think I did a film review on that. Y'all check that out. He is able to keep things in front of him, and you just can't scoot to the side and try to get out there to the edge and scoot upfield. No, he's going to get there. One of his better suits for Michael Parson, by the way, is against the run. And anything that runs, he's there. So don't we play this guy that said the Cowboys always been ass? What's this guy name? Is it Kyler Murray? And I'm going to get back to the Dak Prescott point. Don't we play him this year? Don't we play him again? We going to make sure he going to eat those words. We going to make sure. Yeah, Cowboys always been ass. Well, he always needed a step stool to brush his teeth. And we going to clean him out for him when he come around here and play us again, right? So that's the reality of it. Yeah, so we play him, don't we? We play in the latter part of the year. Hopefully, we're not resting our players. back to the Dak Prescott conversation for the nation. Shout out to you, Karen. Appreciate you for jumping in. Brandon, appreciate you. I'm not trying to talk about Cowler, but he could have used another word phrase than saying that the Cowboys always been, you know what, so it is what it is. So he gonna still be looking up. At the end of the year, he still will be looking up. All right, shout out to you, Terrence. Shout out to you, Mike Meticulous. Let's go with this. Of course, Dak Prescott, with more money comes more responsibilities. No. There's great power comes great responsibility. Oh, what's the big guy? More money, more problems. Y'all put his name, Notorious B.I.G., down in the inbox. Put his government name down.
Shannon, will Prescott be able to live up to all the money he's making?
Skip, the question, so I think the way you're asking this is that multiple championships. I believe he has to win one. If he wins one, I believe it will be, I think you will agree it will be justified. Just one.
I'll buy that.
Just one.
Yep.
Because, $75 million in year one, I think he's making 107 over the first, 13, 14 months because he got the 31 last year, Skip. So with that being said, I think if he wins a championship, he'll pay the deal off. Now, Skip, Jordan Brand, they're getting into the football. But, Skip, a football cleat is not like a basketball cleat. I agree. And because it's specifically designed for one thing, to be worn on a grass field. It's not like basketball. I can wear it with jeans. I can wear it with shorts. I can wear it with a tuxedo. I'm out at any event. I can wear sneakers because sneakers are part of that guy on the right, that Michael Jordan. He made the sneaker. You know what? It's more than a basketball shoe. Mm-hmm. I can rock it, and it says a lot. People look at your shoes and they judge you by the shoes that you're actually wearing, Skip. But when I look at football versus basketball, Skip, here's Brand Jordan athletes in basketball: Zion Williamson, Jason Tatum, Luka, CP3, Russell, Carmelo Anthony. And we look at the athletes in football: Kyle Pitts, Devontae Adams, Tyrann Mathieu, Michael Thomas, Le'Veon Bell, Joe Hayden, and Chase Claypool.
Okay.
It's different.
It's different.
It's very different. And the thing is, Skip,
well, let's break this down. As far as a cultural aspect of it, NBA embraces the black culture a little bit more than the NFL. I think that the NBA is a little bit more visible than the NFL. NBA, you can see the player. It's more fashionable as relates to their gear and what they wear. For crying out loud, the NFL, you got a helmet, you got shields, you got stuff that they just now recently allow you to dance in the end zone. They just recently allow you to show my calls, my cliques. So the NFL been a little bit more archaic in a sense opposed to the NBA. The NBA already knew that a third of their players rolled one. Let me get my clip over here. Let me say it one time. Shout out to the
smoke weed every day.
We knew that those guys were blazing, but they knew that the product and the brand it was over 80 games a year. Let's just allow these guys, let's hold a stipulation for the nation back a little bit and allow these guys to
smoke weed every day.
But the NFL, on the other end, they was fining, suspending, putting things out there saying that this guy is suspended for this and that and hurt and tarnish their own brand because we as fans, we don't give a dog if he
smoke weed every day.
As long as they can play on a Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and of course occasionally Saturday nights. That's just the real dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be PC with it, but we know that there's a difference between the NFL and the NBA. Now, Jordan, he popularized those shoes because people, I know I'm from Mississippi, and I've seen plenty of people get shot, get stabbed, get into a fight over some Jordans, right? But he popularized it. Of course, before that, it was the Chucks, and a lot of people wore Chucks. But when those Jordans came out, man, it was a certain class. You know what I'm saying? It was a certain brand of looking, hey, I got the Jordans on. So even when the schools try to put uniforms on students, people still wore their quote-unquote Jordans, their J's. And there was still a status symbol that, hey, I'm able to wear Jordans. Now, fast forward into present day, we got football players that's more fashionable now. The NFL to open up some branding opportunities, more visible. Some of your black athletes are being more affluent or what have you. Now, I'm not making a white-black issue, but now you know that some of the swag, some of the flavor, some of the stuff that people like to buy, they like to buy with things that they're associated or affiliated with. Now, lo and behold, these marketing companies are now pushing more products out, and you got Rain Dakota Prescott. I'm quite sure Tony Romo or even Troy Aikman could have balled their you-know-what's off. Michael Jordan wouldn't have never said, hey, what's good?
Cash moves the whole Olina around me. Cream. Olina on point now. Let's get that trophy.
Ed, appreciate you, man. Appreciate. Let me give you one of these. Wait. Appreciate them putting one of those right there, man, for that donation. Oh my goodness. DDK 1231. Shout out to you, man, especially in Jackson, Mississippi. Oh yeah, DEI love. Shout out to Jackson State. Yeah, they'll rob you over there from some pair of J's. If you think I'm lying, ask Deion Sanders. They breaking into his stuff left and right. Prime time is like, look, man, hey, man, this boom box, man, this means something very, very, very important to me. You know, can you please return it? I got some money for you, man. Just please return it. But that's what people do. Shout out to Jackson, Mississippi. You know, it's a small city, but we don't call it Jacktown for no reason, right? Jacktown Jews, y'all know how I go. And Memphis, I ain't gonna talk about Memphis. You better look. The thing is with Memphis, you could be driving down the street and you good, but you make the wrong turn. Kumbaya. Memphis, Tennessee over there. Shout out to you, Kaylin. Appreciate you, man. Let's listen to what they got to say.
A football signature shoe is not the same. And when a football player switches, shoe companies, Skip, it doesn't have to get the same buzz as that when Kobe left Adidas and went to Nike.
Yep.
Or when one of these guys leaves, one shoe company and goes to another.
Yep.
But I'm happy for him. I love the shoe. I love what he's done. And Skip, it just, for whatever reason, football, they don't get the endorsement. I mean, Tom Brady did $12 million with all of his endorsements. He's Under Armour, UGG boots, Foot Locker, International Watch Company, IWC, Molecule Mattress, total $12 million. LeBron alone with Nike is 32.
Let me tell y'all something, man. If y'all believe that Tom Brady only got $12 million worth of endorsements, I got land on the moon for sale. Matter of fact, I got unsinkable land in Florida. That joker getting some money. Matter of fact, I kid you not, over there in Boston land, their owner was able to circumvent his salary by allowing him to sell his merch on the campus, well, pretty much on the property, even during games, even though that violates the NFL rulings as it relates to circumventing the salary and these sorts of things. But when that news hit, he was such in a winning situation that they didn't want to open up those cases again. They kind of swept it under the rug. There's ways to circumvent this thing. We know that. But I'll tell you guys, don't believe that he only got $12 million in endorsements and he got 7 Super Bowl rings. Just don't believe it, because there's some things that a lot of people don't know that's being swept up under the rug. And I ain't finna go and give you guys the go along, get along situation, but let's go.
KD's 28, Steph Curry is 20. So it's levels to this, but I'm happy for him. I believe I will say, Skip, within 5 years, if he wins a Super Bowl, one Super Bowl, money well spent, Jerry. Money well spent.
Okay.
No doubt.
By the way, we don't know exactly how much Dak makes off the field.
Right.
This
Facts.
will enhance it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't know if it'll enhance it by a lot, but
Because he got something with the yoga company. He got a mattress.
the last time I checked, he had around a dozen national endorsement deals.
Right.
What did I campaign for? Please, Dak, please take a little hometown discount.
No.
Because you are the quarterback of America's team, and whoever gets to ride that horse gets to ride it into the
That's why you got to maximize
the
it, Skip.
Madison Avenue sunset.
Yeah, you gotta maximize it.
Okay. Well, that should help you in your negotiations with Jerry. Take a little less money for cap
Can't do
purposes so that you can win multiple Super Bowls, as I thought you could from the start.
Can't do that.
Well, he didn't do that.
Right.
The old argument. Now, take a little bit more money, or I'm sorry, a little bit less money, so that you can go out there and grab players. There's this guy that played on his team. His name, he was the tight end. Big, tall guy. His name is at the tip of my tongue. Y'all put his name in the chat box. Dak Prescott was only making $30,000 to $80,000 more than him. And this guy was a converted player, basketball player, to a tight end. His name is at the tip of my tongue. And 6'8", tall. Y'all know who I'm talking about. It's at the tip of my tongue. And people fail to realize that if the Joneses were not able, from Baylor. I forgot his name at the tip, man. Rico. Yeah, shout out to you, man, on the IG page. Def Promise first, man. Appreciate you, man. D Promise or Def Promise first. Appreciate you, man. And I am LB. Appreciate you. I think that's your name. And Steven Slots or Steven. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, Rico Gathers. I come here to tell you guys, if the Dallas Cowboys were not dancing in free agency, if they were not going out there willing and dealing and going out there grabbing players, then what makes you think that all of a sudden, if Dak Prescott take that hometown or home team or less money, they would still go out there and go grab players? You know, John Stephen Jones, that's his whole government name. He is the Dollar General superstar. You know, he will go shop at Fred's. They even say, hey, what about Walmart? He said, man, that's too expensive. I'm going to go down here to the Dollar Tree, shake that thing and see what I can get out of it. That's just the protocol. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this too. Everybody know when it's your first paycheck, you're looking for your coins. Now, after this paycheck, Dak Prescott, his money, got his bread, got his paper. Now you can go in and say, hey, dog, hey, you're going to have to, hey, if you really want such and such player, man, you're going to have to take this back, man. You're going to have to take some of this money and take less money now. But you can't do it on your first time. On top of that, just hear me out, Cowboy Nation. If Jerry Wayne Jones would have approached Dak Prescott before his contract ended, let's say after the second year, and reached down in his pocket and gave him a contract that he can't refuse, then I'm quite sure even his agent would have been saying, because especially after 2017, everybody left him for dead, right? You know, even my dog Okoye, he came out with a video film breakdown. Dead's not guilty, right? Nobody, mama, uncle, cousin, Tupac, and Biggie would have paid Dak Prescott anything after 2017, right? Let me know if I'm lying.
Because he went to quote-unquote war with Jerry Jones back in 2019, and he won the war.
Yeah.
And Jerry admitted at the signing session, you got me.
Because like you, Jerry was stubborn.
Yeah, well, Jerry admitted to the man's face, to number 4's face, right there at the signing press conference. He said, I overpaid you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll buy that. I was glad that he got it done, that Dak is now a Dallas Cowboy, because we were getting closer and closer to one more year and
Right,
gone, right?
right?
Okay, so let's quickly go back to what happened, and this is why I'm dreading next year for Dak Prescott. Okay, so remember 2019 starts. They play 3 bad teams. It was Washington, New York,
and Miami.
They were just bad. You called them garbage teams.
Yeah, they were.
And he put up sensational numbers, and all of a sudden Jerry's saying the deal is imminent. That's what he said after the opening game at home. Mm-hmm. It's imminent, as in days, like we're about to get it signed. Well, if it's imminent, then you've agreed on the finances, right? The dollar figures are agreed upon. Well, not so fast, Jerry, because the agent Todd France informed him somehow after the 3rd game, our price just went up. Jerry does not like it when you jerk the negotiation rug out from under him. He doesn't play that kind of game. You play by the rules of negotiation, and if you have a handshake, you stand by your handshake. So,
well, this is 2021, and of course that happened many moons ago. But I remember when I was in sales, I was a door-to-door salesman, had the 3-piece suit on in Mississippi, had to walk around. Job was good, paid north of $45,000 a year, in Mississippi. I had the 3-piece suit on, but I had this box. You know that dude off of what was the name of this movie? I believe Will Smith played in it, and they were saying Time Machine. I was that dude knocking on doors, and I had a church. I walked into a church, and they said, "Look, Law, we love your business. We'd like to do business with you. We would like to purchase these copier fax printer machines from you. Can you meet with the secretary on Friday, blah, blah, blah. We can give you the purchase order, da, 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 da." And I had to drive all the way from Jackson, Mississippi to Winona, Mississippi in the triple heat where the sun is just bubbling off of your you-know-what. So I made it there, got everything done. The sales manager said, "Hey, Law, you're doing a wonderful job. I can't believe you're finna close off for this deal." I get there, it was gonna be worth around $20,000 to $30,000. Of course, y'all know how sales go. We don't get all of the money; the company get it. Nevertheless, I got there. The lady said, we really liked it, but we really want this and we really want that." So I'm on my way back. Basically, it was a no, from a church who said that they would agree to buy it and purchase it. I'm on my way back. The manager said, "Yeah, it's good and all, Law, that you got this deal done. You forecasted on there. But where's the ink on paper? That rests in my soul." Because sometimes you can have a good game. You can talk all of the numbers. You can talk about the future. You can talk about things that you're going to get in return after the deal is closed and these sorts of things. And you can have a word that they said that they was going to purchase and buy it from you. But until you get that ink on paper, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. Jerry Jones did many a $1 billion of deals. I'm guaranteeing you, he can't really settle until he get that ink on paper. Now, fast forwarding to present day now, the ink is on paper. But back in the days when he played against those teams, I'm sorry, there was no ink on paper. And you was still betting on him to fail because that's just how it is when you put players on the franchise tag. You lock players into a room, you close it down, and you say, "Hey, this is the deal. We're not leaving until it's done." But if you allow that person to leave, anything can happen.
They went to Cold War at that point. And remember, Dak is betting on himself. Everybody in the media, everybody loved. He's betting on himself against Jerry Jones. Over the last 13 games, he was ranked by Pro Football Focus the 15th best quarterback in the league. They went 5-8. And do I have to remind you of all the disasters at New Orleans, Green Bay at home, at Jets, your favorite all-time game, they lost 24-22.
Yep.
At New England, Buffalo on Thanksgiving, at Chicago on that Thursday night, at Philly for all the marbles, the second to last game of the year. Stunk. This is my guy. This is number 4, Dak Prescott. And I'm thinking, wait a second. If you bet on yourself, didn't you lose? And then last year starts early with one really good performance at the Rams, but they lost 20-17. I thought they got a bad call. I thought Michael Gallup got it. Remember, he's called for push off. He pushed out Jay Ram. Okay, but that was a great throw by Dak Prescott.
Not
but then
push
came
off.
The Atlanta Miracle. They're down 39-24 with 7 minutes left. It was 29-10 at half, and it took a miracle for them to pull that game out. At Seattle, they fall behind 30-15 and lose. Then Cleveland at home, they fall behind 41-14 with Dak at quarterback, and he was healthy. And then the Giants, they're at home. They fall behind 17-3, and then eventually the worst thing happens. He gets hurt, and he's gone. So now we have to deal with a career-threatening injury. And what did Dak say yesterday in his media session? He said, "I want to bury all the talk about the injury." And he said to the media people, I need you guys to help me. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And I'm fine with that because it's no excuse. We got to go forward now. And he says he's 100% full speed ahead, right?
Skip, Aaron Rodgers wears Adidas, but what is he known for? State Farm.
Okay.
I mean, so the shoes for... Football shoes don't, it doesn't matter. Skip, it doesn't matter. Nike, Adidas, whatever you wear.
Okay, here's the point. Next year, Dak Prescott makes $75 million.
All right.
Next on the list in the entire league happens to be an offensive tackle signed recently by the 49ers, and that's Trent Williams, who's really good, left tackle. He makes $32.3. He's second on the list as we speak. Third on the list is Tom Brady at $27.5. So next year, Dak Prescott will make $47.5 million more than Tom Brady, who just won his 7th Super Bowl and is an odds-on, at least an odds-on favorite to win the NFC. So the point is, you are making so much money. You got the biggest signing bonus ever. You have the most guaranteed at signing ever.
Yep.
You got the greatest deal in the history of quarterbacks. And again, to your point, will it be outdone as the others start to sign? Sure, it will. But you got it, and I'm not totally sure that you earned it, because in your last...
This dude said he ain't totally sure that he earned it. Look, you don't go and pay people off of what your feelings are. You pay them based off of what the stat says and what the market rate allows. That's just how it goes. He was next online. You can't just make the justifications of paying Carson Wentz more money, coins, remunerations, however bag, than Dak Prescott. The Jared Goff, although he made it to the Super Bowl and beyond, there's no way that you can make the justifications for such. And then when you equate that those guys, their first year, their first contract was more money than Dak Prescott could see. I hope that people can just understand that. Just look up base salary. We ain't talking about off the field scenarios. We're talking about base salary. You can't just sit there and say, okay, all right, yes, he signed a rookie's contract because he was the 4th round draft pick and he's getting $680,000, blah, 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 blah. Now, that's justification because now in the 4th and 5th year, whatever, he's still going to make that. Why Goff get his I think he signed a $27 or $28 million contract his rookie year. Of course, he's the number 1 draft pick. So the problem is that you can't put toothpaste back into the tube. I know that that's water on the bridge. Dak Prescott will be forever known as that guy that made it to where he's at now. But now you just got to justify it and say, okay, whatever he does now is starting from this year, 2021. I digress.
17 starts, you're 6-11.
Well,
your team hasn't been very
let me ask
good.
you a question.
Still,
he earned it before those starts, and you didn't pay him.
That's
so
exactly
pay him
what I'm
before
saying,
that.
yeah.
You should have paid him before that.
okay,
There
I'll
you
buy
go,
that.
Shay
You
Sharp.
could have paid him a lot less if you paid him first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
The only way they could have made this thing work if you paid Dak Prescott before Goff and before Wentz. That's the only way. But you waited. And Todd France sat there, probably Birdman rubbed his hands together and said, all right, cool. I know I'm finna get my 10%. I think they get a little bit north of 10%. And this is a capitalistic society. You're always trying to figure out ways to make more.
obviously, Jerry wasn't sold.
Yep.
And the deeper he got into not sold, the more it cost him. But that didn't make him any more sold, I don't think, because he flat out told him to his face, I overpaid you.
But Skip,
and it's like, I got caught where I didn't have a choice. I had to overpay you.
And that's because that's your business philosophy. You waited, you pay more. I can't make this stuff up. The reason why D-Law getting his money the way it is because you waited. Look, D-Law wanted this amount of money. You said, no, I'm going to slap the franchise tag on you. Don't you know if they went on ahead and paid D-Law before he got his coins or whatever, before he played that year on his franchise tag, instead of paying him $20 million, you could have got away scot-free for $13.5, $14 million. But you sit back, and that's why you got to pay more. The only person that probably won out of this deal that sat there and said, hey, I'm not playing until you give me my cash, was Ezekiel Elijah Elliott. That was a smart move by Rocky Arsenal, if that is his quote-unquote agency that he works under. You know, so my thing is you could have stand firm with Ezekiel Elliott, but you didn't. You cave. And that's just from the business aspect of it. You cave, you pay the people a little bit too soon, and that's what happened. Or if you wait too late, you pay a little bit more. Now, one can argue and say, well, we're looking for defense, and you said you couldn't have enough money to pay this guy. You didn't have enough money to pay that guy. We crunched the numbers, And yeah, you did have enough money to pay Byron Jones. That you always say that you want to build from your draft. Well, you let that guy go. You didn't get nothing in return. What, some compensatory picks?
Guess what? He still bought the building.
Okay.
There you go.
Whether he wanted it or not, it needs some work done to it. I really don't like. I mean, this and that. I get all that. You still paid for it. So whatever you think of Dak Prescott, you overpaid. You still paid him.
You still paid
so
him.
he is now a very wealthy young man. Still a young man.
Yep.
But you can't tell me that the pressure hasn't gone through the roof of that stadium. You can't tell me.
He'll be all right, man. This dude played through his mama passing away, his brother passing away, and tremendous amount of pressure. The only quarterback, I believe, since that draft class in 2016, still on the same team. So the guy, and you playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Look, even little old me, just by talking about Dak Prescott, I get death threats. Can you imagine if Dak Prescott, what he get in his DM and his inbox? Come on now. Let's be real with it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I'm just supporting him.
You don't, for what this young man has gone through in his life, his mom, his brother.
Got that.
I think the football aspect.
But let's just do the football. I got all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. But look what happened when he bet on himself in 2019 over the last 13 games. Did he rise and shine? No, he did not.
No, your team didn't rise and shine.
There you go.
I thought he played by his standards, and I was his biggest fan. I thought he played poorly in the last 15 games, overall poorly.
Well, Jerry being stubborn cost himself $32 million because he cost himself $8 million per year than what more he should have got. Because, and I told you, Skip, I kept telling you, I said, Skip, he's not going to take the same amount of money as Jared Goff and Carson Wentz when they got 2 years left on their deal and he has no years left on his deal. So you got to come to the table automatically offering him more than what they got. You can't say, well, we're going to put you in line with those guys because he wasn't going to take it. And I told you, TF, Todd Friends, gonna get that bread.
TF?
TF gonna get that bread. I told you gonna get that bag. He got a whole bag. They said, Jack, go get another bag. Since Jerry didn't want to say Black Lives Matter, go get your other bag back there. He pulled out that.
Oh my God. You don't have nothing to do
Only
with it.
silver lining here is that the GOAT of GOATs said, I want you. Jordan said, I want Dak.
That what he said?
Jordan runs the company, but he probably has some say.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan.
Huh?
That was the end of that clip right there. Appreciate everybody for jumping in and tuning in. Shout out to you, Kenneth Banks. Appreciate you, Dallas Cowboys. Appreciate you, Choctaw. Thank you for being part of this episode. And thank everybody that's on the IG page. Somebody says Byron was not worth it, but he would have got paid. Yeah, well, we looking at it from the Byron Jones aspect. And I love to bring this up. Shout out to you guys that's on the IG page. I'm only bringing up Byron Jones because of the fact that John Stephen Jones said that he liked to build through the draft. He liked to create a possibility that he would like to draft players so that they can be elevated, and that will be your picks, or that will be your players on your team. My thing is, the part of the problem with the Dallas Cowboys, I think they draft pretty well and decently, by the way. It's just that second phases of it, meaning that they don't know how to really wheel and deal. So many people talking about, hey, well, we're going to trade Michael Gallup. Y'all hear some of the news and noises out of that, and I sit there and laugh, and hey, we're going to trade LVE. Dallas Cowboys don't trade players unless you Ryan Switzer for Jahad Ward, right? That was the only trade that they made in many a moons, right? We don't necessarily do this trading thing pretty well. We hold on to players until it's too long before they get a long tooth, and then we say, okay, we let you go. And then we depend, or we lay upon, compensatory picks. Now, since compensatory picks are tradable and they move compensatory picks to, I believe you can get the earliest of a third-round draft pick and a fourth-round draft pick for a compensatory pick. And one can argue and say, well, hey, Dak Prescott was a compensatory pick. Well, he was from the compensatory pick because I think that it was another player. I think his name was Russell or something like that, that was drafted right before Dak Prescott. Y'all can put his name in the chat. But my thing is, that's their philosophy. They would rather depend on the compensatory pick opposed to trading, opposed to willing and dealing. Now, I'm not in the sweepstakes of saying you trade Michael Gallup or LVE. at this point because I just know that they don't do it anyway. So why even waste your breath and talk about it, right? Appreciate you this over here. Everybody that's on the IG page. I see you over there. Let me see if I can pull your name up. What's good with you, Big? What's good with you, man? Ezekiel, don't trade. Hashtag don't trade Gallup. Yeah, I mean, he's not going anywhere. My thing is the off season is always a long one, right? And then the training camp is right around the corner. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys for this week. They got all of their rookies, each and every last one of them, in school. It's called rookie school. Mike McCarthy is putting these guys through school, letting them know the do's and the don'ts. So that's good. That's good news to us for us to hear. But when training camp come around, it's going to be crazy because all of those wide receivers, the wide receiver room is so big. Yeah, we went out there and pulled up a guy named Reggie Davis, right? They got Simi Fehoko. They got a guy named T.J. Vasher. All of these guys got to work together, and they got to figure out a way to get on this starting roster or make the 53. They do. So come around that time, they better be ready because nobody's just going to be given a position, but you got to be able. You got to be able to play special teams. Yeah, you do. We stole Gallup in the third round. Yeah, this is IMLB. Is it I don't know your name, man. You just put it in the chat for me, man, again. But it's IAMLB. My thing is Gallup, I mean, he's a guy, he's not a prima donna. He's not a guy that, hey, here's me, just give me the ball type of guy. He's a silent assassin just like Amari Cooper. I think Lamb may do a little bit more chatting as it relates to this year, but we'll find out toward the midpoint of this season. But like I said, the Cowboys, they draft pretty well. It's just that the second wave, do they will and deal? Do they get multiple draft picks for a person that they get rid of that they knowing that they're not going to keep? For example, if you knew you was going to let Byron Jones walk, would you be better with a situation of getting another asset out of him? Can you imagine if you were to will and deal, get some type of draft pick, plus you still drafted Trayvon Diggs and you have another legitimate corner on the opposite side? Or would you be happy to see Diggs on one side and Byron Jones on the other? It could have been something like that. But now we got Boss Man Fat on one side and Diggs on the other. Hopefully these guys can do some major things. Last big trade, this is from Jeffrey. Shout out to you on the YouTube. He says the last big trade was Herschel Walker. Laughing out loud. That was a real big one, right? And then he came back to the team, I believe, in 96. So that's crazy there. All right, I got to cut this episode short. I got a technician to come over to the crib. He got to install some stuff. So we will be doing another show later on tonight. Me, Big Game James, Boss Man. You know what I'm saying? Not Fat, but Boss Cowboys. I call him Boss Man since we got a Boss Man on our team. The OC, we're going to be trying to put out some good content. So be tuned, stay tuned, hit that notification bell. And we will pick off where I left off at on this conversation. Yeah, Diggs, look, Steve says Diggs is our best player on the defense. Woo, that's a profound statement there. Profound statement. It make me wonder as the guy approaching my Ringer app is showing up. Y'all post me who is the best player on the defensive side of the coin. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's go. We'll rock out with this one. Oh, Greg says, Randy, get down, Blazer. Gregory. Jordan Lewis. Yeah. Something to think about there, Cowboy Nation. We out. Peace. Peace.